Welcome to the Prelude Cares Network podcast, episode 2. I'm so excited to have the executive director from Barnstone Art for Kids, Sean Halloran. What's up, Sean?
Steve, yes. Thank you for having me, Steve. I'm really excited to be here and to talk to you.
And we've spoken a few times. You're part of the Prelude Cares Network, which is awesome. Every time I talk to you, you just have this energy. I know you've heard this before, but you have this kind of this positive energy that exudes from you. So I'm excited for that to come out to anybody who watches this.
Thank you. I will bring it today. I'm fully caffeinated and ready to chat and ready to share.
How did you get here? You're running the Barnstone Arts. It's not something you started.
No.
So tell me a little bit about Barnstone Arts and then and I know it's Barnstone Art for Kids, but
yeah,
I'm going to generically say Barnstone Art sometimes, if that's okay with you.
That is fine with me. And yeah, it's a really interesting story. I mean, my entry into the organization predated my taking on the role of director. But the original sort of light bulb moment came from my friend and our founder, Lynn Detweiler, back in sort of the early part of 2000. Around 2010 or so, Lynn was running Barnstone Gallery, which was just a full-on, really successful art gallery business here in Phoenixville, where we're based. And she was hosting a show, and like every other art opening, we had an artist here that was talking with patrons who were coming to check out the show. And Lynn noticed that that artist was engaged in a really sort of important and personal conversation with a young person who was attending the show. This young person turned out to be someone who was, and this is going to be a little bit going back in history, but someone who was displaced as a result of Hurricane Katrina years before that.
Wow.
So this was a young person who was up in the Philadelphia region. If you go all the way back, you'll recall that we were literally relocating families all across the country. And this was a young person who had been impacted. So as Lynn saw this interaction with the artist unfold, had a sort of a light bulb moment that recognized that she wanted to do more for children and leverage the power of art. After a lot of research and thinking and discussion with resources in our community, she came up with the first iteration of the Power of Art, which was our first program under Barnstone Art for Kids, and that was delivered to elementary aged kids in the community. The organization started to take on volunteers, which and I'll talk about how important our volunteers are to the effort. But Lynn developed a curriculum for that Power of Art. She developed an initial group of volunteers that were going to help deploy this. And in 2012, also applied for and got the 501c3 nonprofit designation. So
prior to that, she was a for-profit business.
Exactly right. It was a for-profit gallery, and from there, it really changed direction significantly. And in 2012, we got the nonprofit designation and started to deliver the small groups that we still deliver today, that are year-long experiences for kids that also pair the children with adult mentors from the community who are going to be with them and create connection and relationships across that time period, that program time period. Lynn, continued the work. We were delivering programs in spaces like the domestic violence shelter here in Chester County, in school settings, and in other child serving settings, and really started getting noticed. The work piqued my attention. I was introduced to Lynn in about 2013 or 14, and at the time was myself a clinical administrator working with kids and families in the mental health and the nonprofit mental health sector, and was so just enamored with the work that Lynn was doing that I joined as a volunteer initially. So I was mentoring with kids way back, then. And the work there was just inspiring. And Lynn's initial groundwork with the power of art was really, really incredible, and just led to more involvement from the community, more involvement from the resources that are serving kids, our school district, and other mental health partners. So it had started to really gain momentum right from the beginning, and it really hasn't stopped. We've continued to succeed. The reality is that while Lynn has stepped away from her role as executive director back in 2019, we've not missed a beat. She retains her position on the board. I hope she always stays on the board. It was funny. It was back then, I guess around 2017, after a few years of volunteering, that she had asked me to join the board of directors. And it was in 2019 that she announced her retirement. And I went home and said to my wife, well, we've got some big shoes to fill. Lynn's saying that she's going to retire, and now we've got to find a new director. And my wife kind of looked at me puzzled and said, you've been talking about how great this is. Why don't you throw your hat in? And I did, and really, it was just an amazing a miracle as far as I'm concerned. It was really, really something that, that has given me a level of professional satisfaction and a sense of purpose here in this community that professionally I just is unrivaled. It's incredible.
It sounds like all your work with CCTC in the past and everything you've done kind of positioned you perfectly for this.
It really did.
You're home. You're home at this point. So I have a quick question.
Yes.
The young lady who was the impetus behind all of this, does she know she was the impetus behind?
I believe she does. So Lynn has shared that story, and yeah, it gives me chills when I talk about it. And Lynn is still willing to tell the story, at events and things like that. But the folks who were impacted and who sort of inspired. Lynn still has contact out with them, and it's pretty incredible.
You must be in her 20s or 30s at this point.
Gotta be, 30s by now. Well, late 20s for sure.
Yeah. That's a powerful story. That's incredible.
Absolutely.
And do you still operate out of the old for-profit gallery, same space?
We do. And so the Detweiler family owns this building and the campus here, and have for really the entirety of Barnstone's existence, Barnstone Art for Kids' existence, has made this space available either completely in kind or for really, really nominal cost to the organization. So the Detweiler family and the family foundation have been very, very supportive of the work, the ongoing work that we're doing. So we're in this amazing 1880s barn that had, of course, been repurposed and reconditioned, or built out to this amazingly light-filled and open gallery spaces where children are coming every week for a full school year and making art and meeting with friends and peers. It's an incredible space. It's really, I still, when I pull up in the mornings, I still kind of pinch myself and say, wow, you get to work in a really great space that really brings the magic. So we're really lucky for that.
That's incredible. And 1880, obviously, that's really cool, but it brings some challenges as well. Have you had challenges with historically certified, like those types of?
I managed to join after any of those problems may have existed.
Okay, all right, good. There you go.
Yeah,
the jar was already loosened when you came in.
Oh yeah. The aspects of the 1880 are, sort of the rafters above me and the floors downstairs. We have some of the original flooring and some of the all of the original beams in the building. But from there, these just about these giant expanses of glass that are open to the beautiful scenery around us. We're in this really kind of lovely part of Phoenixville that we've got a meadow
Cool
behind.
area.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's absolutely
a
beautiful.
cool, hip area to live.
It really, it's pretty.
Like,
it is pretty hip.
It's like kind of Manayunk, Collingswood, Haddonfield, all these like cool area, Doylestown, Media.
Oh yeah, yeah,
There's
yeah.
so many neat small towns like that in the Philadelphia area.
Absolutely, and we are sort of a slice of that. Yeah, we are a small town, but it has not. It's certainly like every community. We have a need for help. We have a need for support to families, and so Phoenixville is no different than any of those places. Yes, in its hipness, but also we want to make sure that we're taking care of our community, and so this is a great place to operate from as well for that purpose.
That's great. I need to get up there.
Yes. Yeah. This
Full
is
disclosure, I haven't been there yet. You and I have not been in a room together.
it's incredible, isn't it? But yeah,
no, that'll happen. That'll definitely happen soon. In fact,
that's right. We've got our date. We've got our date now with.
I don't know if we should talk about our event that we're
we,
working on. Why don't we go into that, and then we can kind of backtrack. You know why Jaden is such a good speaker for this, and part of our mission with the Prelude Cares Network is to truly create this network with Prelude and then the foundation that I run, Little Smiles, in a perfect partnership, being right at the core, right in the middle, and helping to connect dots. And you and I had a great conversation around collaborating on an event, and I'm excited. I don't want to steal any of the thunder, so give us the event that we're going to be doing just in a short couple months, not even.
So what is our date for that? It's in November, and I think we are. Yes, that's it. That's it. So we are getting together, and you've introduced us to Jaden. And I don't know that I've met somebody more inspiring, and he is at such a young age, an incredible guy with just. You were talking about my energy. I feel a very a kindred kind of energy from Jaden. But his story is incredible, and we sort of talk about this idea of resilience in the face of adversity a lot. And it's really what we're trying to activate in our own children that we're serving. But in the case of meeting Jaden and hearing his story, which is incredibly harrowing, right? I mean, you know firsthand, but it really resonated with the work that we're doing here, and it was important for me to take the opportunity to introduce him to the community here in Phoenixville. And I know that he's just a short distance away from us over in Norristown, but here hosting him here with Little Smiles with you will be just I think a wonderful opportunity for our community. And the intention is to really bring not just the families that we're already in touch with, right, but the whole community, and even folks from the larger community, beyond the whole Phoenixville, greater Phoenixville community. So
that is to the public. You want
absolutely.
What's the time? Number one, and number two, we talked about what, 10 to noon?
Yes, we did. And this will be hosted at our facility on Pothouse Road in Phoenixville. So you'll get to come and see the barn, which will be fantastic. And we'll have an opportunity to break bread a little bit, have a little snacks and so forth, and make sure that everybody is comfortable. But then we'll get to hear from Jaden and have a conversation with him and talk about some of the things that that we share, right? The idea that we all are human beings, and human beings are innately, we're going to experience some tough times, right? It's part of our lives. In some cases, those tough times can really be traumatic and really be as I say, harrowing. And so we're going to kind of unpack some of what it means to be able to use the coping skills to handle those really difficult times, those really traumatic times. And so my hope is that we'll all walk away not just feeling inspired by Jaden, but with some ideas, particularly with our parents and caregivers, with the idea that we will have some strategies that we can employ in our own households and our own families. That I think is going to be hopefully our big takeaway. That between all of Jaden's story and between what we're trying to communicate, that folks walk away feeling empowered and feeling like, yeah, this is important stuff, and these are important ideas that we can help bring to the community, bring to our block, right? So it's that grassroots, and it's that important. So.
Well, and I think the beautiful part about it, not to give Jaden's total story away, but I actually co-host a podcast, Four Little Smiles, with Jaden.
Yeah.
And here's this 19-year-old kid who is, in a lot of ways like all 19-year-old kids, but he is paralyzed from the chest down. He's a cancer survivor. He's had so many different negative hands dealt and so many lemons thrown his way.
Yep.
But he is definitely making lemonade. And I think the most powerful connection is the fact that he uses art as therapy. I mean, he really has embraced art, even though he doesn't have full use and dexterity in his hands. He paints with his mouth.
Yeah.
So I'm excited that he's going to bring some of his artwork to show off, and
absolutely,
such a perfect match.
It's a great match, and yeah, his artwork is really incredible too. So I can't wait for our guests to see that and to share with how he came to that. I mean, he's a guy who the good stuff is just coming out of him, right? And I recognize, and he is the first to say, I've had all of these really wonderful people, you included, in his life, but he's embraced his artistic side, and just he understands that this is going to come out, and he's using it to his advantage. It's a really incredible story. So I can't wait for our day.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So, and I know it's early. This is like hot off the presses, but eventually people can go to your website. That's why I stuck it down there. Folks can go to your website to register to come to the event.
Absolutely.
Because we don't have a registration.
Yes, we will be doing a registration. Whoop. I think we may be a little stuck. Did I just get... Steve? Oh, bummer. Hey, Key. Flipping thing just got...
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened.
No, me neither.
Okay, well, we'll edit it afterwards. We can keep going with it, but
okay.
But generally speaking, if people want to come, they can go to your website. There's limitations though, even though it's a barn, it's not endless amount of people who you can host.
Very true. Very true. So when we get our, so the registration is not yet on the website, but it will be on the website fairly shortly. And yeah, we should have plenty of room for folks to attend. But yeah, registration will be required, and we'll have that out in both on our website and on our socials in the upcoming weeks.
And we'll have refreshments, and it'll be great.
We gotta throw a party over here at the barn.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
So let's I think Jaden is a nice segue to talk about really the core of your mission, which is ACEs. Tell me about what's that acronym? Tell me about
Right.
ACEs.
So thank you for asking that. ACEs is really what Lynn Detweiler had been responding to back, in the early days of Barnstone Art for Kids, but it refers to adverse childhood experiences, right? And this is a phrase that was coined back in the mid 1990s. As a part of a seminal study that was undertaken by the Centers for Disease Control, the CDC, and Kaiser Permanente, who is a large healthcare provider system out west. These researchers had studied a group of about 17,000 adults in the United States, and so a myriad of things were studied, but one of or some of the most important results related to the presence of trauma in these adult folks' lives as kids. So they were noticing, the researchers were noticing that that for the folks who experienced trauma as children were also experiencing negative health outcomes later in life. And the correlation between these two things is sort of a dose response kind of relationship. In other words, the research showed that if bad stuff happens in childhood, and cumulatively, the more bad stuff that happens, the greater the risk for a negative health outcome later in life. And when we're talking about negative health outcomes, we're talking about things like diabetes, we're talking about heart disease, COPD, even early mortality. So the relationship to early childhood trauma and health outcomes in adulthood was really, really kind of mapped out. And this was a really important kind of finding that the researchers also recognized transcended your neighborhood, right? This was not just something that was happening in just impoverished areas. We know that trauma or these ACEs, adverse childhood experiences, are pretty common. About 67% of the United States population has experienced at least one, right? So, and when we're talking about trauma, we're certainly referencing the things that we normally think about, right? Like abuse and neglect and so forth. But trauma doesn't really, isn't limited to just those things. It can be medical trauma. It can be homelessness. It can be food scarcity. It can be the whole range of things, horrible things that can happen to an individual.
And all of the above for somebody like Jaden.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. I mean, as difficult as that is, yeah. So the reality is that we need to do something about this, right? We need to disrupt that cycle of childhood trauma because we know that it's going to disrupt the development, the typical development of a child. So Lynn back then, and we continue the work today. We're leveraging the power of art to kind of help mitigate some of that. We know that we are addressing the impact of that adverse childhood experience because we're using empirically driven strategies to help children experience the skills of resilience and to really help them overcome the really devastating impacts of ACEs.
Well, a lot of these hospitals use art therapy, music therapy, and part of art is the escape.
Yeah.
And the escape, for a kid who's had some adversity and had some trauma, maybe existing current trauma, the escape is huge.
Yeah.
Giving your mind the ability to just be a kid and do something productive is almost immeasurable.
Yeah.
And it's part of why Will Smiles does what we do, right? We work with Mission Kids, who handles abuse cases. We work with 2 homeless shelters. It's not just quote unquote sick kids,
right?
Who we have smiles on the faces of. So
absolutely.
it's a great, great mission. And so where do you get the kids? Like, how do you engage the kids? How do you get the word out about the kids? How do they sign up? Like, what's the whole program look like?
So yeah, and thank you for asking. The reality is that we've been, operating obviously since 2012. So we've had the opportunity to really get out there in the community and talk with our partners, talk with our community members, our families, our mental health partners over the years, and develop relationships. Right? We're using art making as a vehicle for our kids. And as an art therapist, I can say it is a powerful tool that we're using. And you're absolutely right to say that art offers this ability to kind of visit a reality, a reality of your own creation, your own creativity and imagination, and kind of work on some of those things, whether it's directly or indirectly. Art making is, in and of itself, a generative and really an energy producing vehicle. So we're using that to help our kids across a whole year. So a typical child will come to us through one of our partners. It could be a mental health provider in the greater Phoenixville area. We're talking about folks like Devereaux or Creative Health or Child and Family Focus, or even you just referenced Mission Kids. We've had a partnership with them, and they are certainly valued members of the community and do such critical work. But they've recognized that we're a place that can help after that work is completed, and so we've accepted referrals from really all over. One of our most powerful sources of referral, word of mouth. Families that have had children who participated in our programs, who value those programs, and are talking with neighbors. And I'm going to share this one referral story. It's one story, but I have a couple of examples where this has happened. A young person who had participated in our program, she was on her bus ride home from school, noticed a peer, another young person on the bus who was visibly upset. Our participant had approached this young person and tried to console her on the bus. When she got home, when our participant got home, implored her mom to get this child help through Barnstone. And so, like, that to me is about the best testimonial I think I could ever ask for. If a child who has seen the value in what we do is saying, yeah, you should participate in this, that's big. So yeah, we get these. We have really some wonderful partners in our referrals, but children are coming to us. They're visiting the barn before they begin our programs. If they're referred to us, we want them to come and check us out and make sure that it's a good fit for the child, right? So we're going to bring a young person here with their caregiver and give them the full nickel tour and show them what we're all about, because it's a big thing, right? This is not just a thing where we're going to do 6 weeks of programming and then move on. Kids are coming here for a full school year. So the reality is that school started just a couple weeks ago. This is our second week of full programming here at Barnstone. So we're kind of in step with the child's academic year. And so kids that started just 2 weeks ago with us are going to be participating on a weekly basis all the way out until the end of the school year in June. And when they're coming to us, right, they've signed up and they're coming to us, they're being met here in the barn by an adult mentor from the community, a volunteer from the community. The reality is that these volunteers are you and me. They're folks who just care about kids. They care about the safety of the community that they live in, and they want to, spend some time giving back in that, in that spirit. So we've got these wonderful folks, and they're coming from professional circles, and they could be financial analysts, they could be teachers, they could be retired folks. It doesn't matter. The central element is that they have a passion for art, they have a passion for helping, and want to help our kids. So we're greeting them at the door. These young people who have experienced things that have been too much and too soon, and we're going to provide nurturance and support. And we're really going to be dipping into the sort of the skills of resilience and understanding that these kids have skills within themselves that they can start to tap into. And that sense of confidence starts to get built up, right? And the sense of belonging, right? I'm a part of a community here. All of this stuff, all of these elements are really critical to the development of those coping skills, those skills of resilience. And as the year goes through, children are being offered a trauma-informed art curriculum that, yes, it is teaching some of the formal elements of art, right? So we're going to talk about composition and contour and value and all of the elements of art, but we're also building in important psychoeducational kinds of metaphors, right? So when we talk about like the idea of balance in art, I'm talking about how a picture maybe looks. Is it kind of feel right in the presentation? Does a picture feel balanced? We can take that idea of balance and start to talk about balance in our own lives, and talk about the idea of having to balance homework with my friendships and wanting to play with my friends, and how that plays out in the individual child's life. So those metaphors become really, really critical parts of our conversation, and things that we can kind of help children understand that their decision making, how they want to sort of feel, and how they want to operate in their own environments is really, really important. And gosh, I'm sorry, I'm getting a little tongue-tied, but the reality is that our kids are coming away feeling empowered, and feeling that they have a say in how things are going to look, in certainly a say in how their artwork is going to look. We're trying to provide art experiences that are open for the kids to have control over their end product, right? And ultimately, while our end piece of artwork is important, and we want that to look beautiful for the child, and we want the child to be like, look what I made. We also want it to be focused on a process that allows the child to kind of ask questions. What do I want out of this? And how am I going to make something that looks really cool and says what I want it to say? And we're going to provide the tools that are going to help them do that. We're going to provide an adult right next to them that's going to say, oh yeah, we can do that, and facilitate some of that. So it's a really impactful thing. As I say, we know that we're doing this over the course of a full year, so that creates an environment. It creates a whole a setting where a child can come and they can feel like when they come through the door
Part of
here,
a team, right? I mean, it's like camaraderie.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
How many kids are in a class like this? Would you call them a class? Are they broken up into class?
A group. I mean, I suppose I call it a group. I'm an art therapist by training, and have run so many groups over the years that it's just easiest to call them groups. And I think it does differentiate a little bit from an art class in that regard. But yeah, so we keep things really kind of on the smaller side, and we do that on purpose, because again, we're going to have a whole complement of adults in the room. So if we're working with a group of 6 or 7 young people and 6 or 7 adult community members, then we're talking a dozen or more folks in a room, and that starts to get fairly busy, and we wind up having to not divide our attention, but we want to put our full attention on each of those kids. So we're keeping our groups kind of on the smaller side and intimate side, so that we can get that work done, and so we can have those important conversations with our kids.
And how often are the kids coming per week?
They're coming on a weekly basis. They're coming one time a week for 90 minutes, and they're going to do that. We have 4 blocks basically that that the kids will go through throughout the course of the year. Starting in September, these blocks will take us up to the winter holidays, and we have a break over the winter holidays. We're going to return because we're taking kids. We're working with kids from multiple school districts, and of course, over the holidays, families travel and are sometimes with their own families and so forth. So we are picking back up in January and then going all the way out until June again. So it is. In total, just under 40 hours of direct programming that is mentored, as I say, that we're working with those kids. And one of the things that I want to point out that is a point of difference when children are finishing that year-long experience, it's not just, well, thank you very much and bye-bye. We understand that the connection has been made, and that we want these children to continue to feel that sense of belonging and then continue to feel that sense of connection. And so we've created alumni opportunities for both our youngest participants, our Power of Art participants, as well as our teenage participants, our Emerging Voices kids. And so those kids are able to come back on a monthly basis for a session where, again, we're making art, we're having conversation, we're having a really impactful time, and they can come to those groups, in perpetuity. They can come forever, and that has happened. We've had children that have started with us in a Power of Art session, right? So you might be in 3rd or 4th grade, and you're coming to us for that full year, and then you've finished and you've come back to us through the Alumni Beyond the Power programming, and then after a few years, holy mackerel, you're 13 now. And if you're interested, you can come back for the Emerging Voices teen programming. So, and we've had that happen a number of times. The other dynamic that happens that keeps us, connected and together, those mentor-artist relationships. Those are not, just transient, relationships either. So many of our mentors are still in contact with their families and with their kids. We just last spring I attended our local high school graduation, and it was so wonderful it was a handful of kids that had participated in Barnstone that were graduating, and I saw some of our mentors there, and that is that's pretty incredible. That is,
it's such a powerful and sustainable model.
Yeah.
Right, because you're basically, that 3rd or 4th grader is the farm system to being a mentor, to being an adult volunteer, hopefully to being a donor someday. Like it really, it's such a great model. And talk about powerful. One of the things that blew me away when we first spoke was the price.
Oh yeah, we got to talk about the price. There is no cost. All of our programs are free to the public. Yeah, it's that is I love sharing that because I know that for a lot of our families, finances for anybody are an obstacle or can be an obstacle.
Sure.
Yeah, we want to clear the path of that. We want to keep our programs, free to our families. Or I think what we're talking about now is making sure that the public and our very generous public and the community here has been supportive of us. And we talk about, yes, we have to talk about what it costs to provide these programs or provide these scholarships or whatever you want to call it for the kids that are participating. But yeah, my goal and I think the goal of Barnstone is to make sure that there are no financial obstacles, that there are no transportation obstacles. So we're really trying to clear the road, so to speak, for kids to participate.
It's incredible.
So yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I appreciate it.
Oh, I mean, it's so powerful, and you got to think, the ACEs.
Yeah.
Many cases that could be a single mom, right? And you have 3 kids, and just there's nothing extracurricular that is cheap. Sports, if they're playing sports or playing travel sport, like everything just costs a lot of money. Absolutely. And to have something right in the community that is free and so powerful and so lasting, right? It's something that they don't, like you said, it's not a 6-week program. This is
Right.
something that's going to be a part of who they are going
Absolutely.
forward. Is so impressive. So amazing
Thanks.
work,
Thanks.
amazing work you're doing.
Thanks.
John, is there, I want to talk about the event one more time. So it's
Yep.
November 5th from 10 to 12.
Yes.
I'll throw the website out one last time. Is there anything else you want to communicate about Barnstone, about ways that people can volunteer? Just any message to get out there.
Well, the message for potential volunteers are that we are definitely interested in meeting you and talking with you. We're a place that is always looking for new friends. And visiting barnstoneartforkids.org is a really easy way to learn a great deal more about us. We have some really helpful information up there, including our volunteer application. Of course, our volunteers aren't just kind of thrown into the ring and, hey, like meet Tommy. We're providing some meaningful training as sort of a trauma 101 training for our folks, as well as ongoing support. We meet for a brief supervision after each of the groups. So the folks that are volunteering for us, we want to create a meaningful volunteer opportunity for those folks. So we're going to provide the resources that they need to feel empowered to do that work themselves, right? So volunteering, very, very important. The other piece that I want to kind of bring up here is this idea that, that this work, while it's occurring really meaningfully here in the barn, the work can also continue out in the community, right? So I do leave the barn every once in a while, and I sometimes bring art supplies with me. And when we're doing that, we're out in the community training people and talking with parents about the power of art, yes, but also how we can support optimal development with kids. We provide some programming in different areas around our community here. For the library, for example, yesterday morning we were out doing a preschool age program, and they're working with young 3 and 4 year olds and their caregivers. We're able to talk about almost like prevention level work, right? We're talking about building brain architecture in a young person's mind. And we know that when a young person is working with a caregiver hand over hand, and when they have that available support to them, we know that the neural connections in that young person's brain are really, really firing, and they're really making such important connections that are going to be lifelong. So the work that can be done here in the barn can be done in your own home, can be done in your own community, and it's so vital. We want to create developmental environments for our children that are recognizing that each of us has a part to play in this child's life. And Steve, when you and I, and we're going to be a little nostalgic, and when we talk about childhood, we talk about, like, if I was doing something wrong on my walk home from school, there was probably a neighbor who was going to say, "Hey, I'm telling your mom," or something's got, we had, or we sort of think about this idea that the community is activated, that the community has a part to play in every child's life, and we do. The community here in Phoenixville is really, really, I think, special, but we're not completely unique insofar as we're a community of people who care. And I know that even some of the places that we were listing before are similar. So we want to sort of replicate this, and it can be replicated in every community. And that's, I think,
you can't teach people to care.
Yeah,
You can't teach people.
We're
right?
we're gonna try. We are gonna try.
Well, you attract the right people. You have something that you've built that attracts people who care, whether they're mentors, whether they're volunteers, whether they're kids who are, coming and being the aces who are joining you in 3rd or 4th or 5th, whatever grade. There's a quote, and I pulled it up real quick because I wanted to get it right. But Mother Teresa said, and this is part of the little smiles. And sometimes I have, my smile shirt that I wear.
Right.
And we talked about, how art has this effect, but we will never know all the good that a simple smile can do. And I always said that there's probably no technical medicinal impacts of a smile, but when a kid's smiling and they're, the chemicals in their body is
Oh, yeah.
just reacting differently.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
whether they're sick or they're, the subject of abuse, or they're homeless, or whatever the ACE reasoning is, a smile, and art certainly makes you smile, right? Not
Absolutely.
only, here's the multiplier effect. Art makes you smile, but it also makes countless other people smile by
Absolutely.
viewing it. So, well,
Absolutely.
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention anything about Prelude Cares Network and how our network
Good.
can help Barnstone.
Yes.
So we help organizations save money. And the cool thing is, if we were to engage with an organization, we make a percentage of what we find, but it's newfound money for that organization, and then we donate a percentage back to Barnstone. So we've been working with Sean and getting to their board, and people who care about the cause
Yep.
to be able to refer us. So if you have a business, if you were compelled by Sean's story and Barnstone, and you have a business where you're looking to cut costs, which I don't know how many businesses aren't, and you're in a decision-making capacity, reach out to us. You can go to Prelude, preludesolutions.com. You can reach me. If you're on this podcast, you'll know how to reach me, either LinkedIn or on our YouTube channel. So really excited to be able to really develop this partnership with Barnstone and hopefully deliver nice big checks with Sean, the two of us holding a big fake check.
I want the big check. That's what we're going for.
We'll have to do it with a wipe off so that we can fill in numbers and use it over and over and over again.
I'd love to. Let's make that happen. Let's make that happen, because that just means that we can serve more and more children and yeah, create more and more smiles, right? That
100%.
is. Yeah.
Well, Sean, thank you for joining today. We did have some technical little hiccups that may or may not be able to be edited, but guess what? That fits the ACEs, right? There's adversity. There's technological adversity.
Exactly.
Adversity never ends. It may start in childhood, but it never ends. And I think programs like yours get people to learn how to deal with the adversity that gets thrown their way, as little or big as it is.
Yes. Thank you, Steve. I couldn't agree more. I think that we're recognizing that that there is this really dynamic interaction, right, between the child's environment and all of the influences in their lives, and I think we have a really great model for helping. And I think that that Prelude Cares and your work is so really important to helping us, be able to open the doors to families. So thank you for having us on.
Yeah, thank you, and I'm excited for November 5th.
Woo-hoo!
Hopefully we'll be able to drive some traffic to it. So,
Absolutely.
Sean, I appreciate it, buddy. You have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much, Steve. You too.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Prelude Cares Network podcast. The Prelude Cares Network gives back to incredible causes throughout the community, and we're highlighting those causes in this podcast. But the core of our program is working with companies like yours to be able to help you save money and give back to the community without spending a penny. So it's the true win-win. If you're interested in learning more about what Prelude does and the Prelude Cares Network, go to preludesolutions.com/giving back, and you can learn more. Reach out to me. You can link in with me on LinkedIn at Steve Grandizio. Follow us on LinkedIn at Prelude Solutions, and we'd love to be able to help your company and your organization save some dollars and also make a contribution to some fantastic causes. Have a great day. Thank you for joining.